Hello, today we're going to learn how to use VOPs in Houdini, so let's jump into it. So here we have an empty Houdini session, and I'm going to set up first a simple scene with a cube. So press tab and type geo and go inside geometry, tab and type box. So now we have a box to work with, and let's go up. And now we want to manipulate this box. And in the last lesson, we learned how to write VEX code to do this. And this time we are going to generate VEX code directly inside Houdini, so we don't have to use the command line. So for this, we are going to use VOP networks. So press tab and type VOP and choose VOP network. And then go inside the VOP network. And this is also called the VEX Builder networks. And first we're going to create a SOP VEX Builder. So press tab and type SOP and choose SOP type. And then let's change this name by pressing P and call this hello as in our last lesson. And now go inside this. And here you can see the global variables that are available in the SOP context to manipulate. So let's multiply this by 2 as we did last time. So I press tab and type mul for multiply. And then I connect the position P to this multiply node. And we also need the constant 2 to multiply with. So press tab and type constant. And connect this constant to the second input. And press P on the constant to change the value. So I will set this to 2. Okay, so let's see what we got. So I go back into the geometry, the SOP network. And now I press tab and select type hello. And here we have a new node called hello that we just created. And we can connect this to the box and look at the result. And this scales the box with the size 2. So let's next press the right mouse button and VOP options edit VOP network, so we can jump directly back to our setup. So this is a bit tedious to have to type multiply and to have to add 2 nodes just to make a multiplication. So instead of this, let me first show you the result of this before I change it. So if you go back to the SOP type and select VEX VOP options view VEX code, then you can see what VEX code was generated by this setup. So we have, like before, a SOP type and a function called hello. And then we have the function body with 2 variables. And the first is set to value 2, and this is multiplied with the position. And this product is copied into temp P that is then copied back to the position. And we have some pragmas here that defines the information about this node. So this is almost the same that we wrote last time. And let's now try to do this a little bit more efficiently. So I'm going to delete these 2 nodes and instead type tab and snippet. And press P on the snippet, and now we can type some VEX code here. So I'm going to type p times equal 2.0 semicolon. And that's the same code we wrote last time. And now you can see the box is doubled in size again. So let's look at this VEX code. So again, VEX op view VEX code. And this is more or less the same, except it put this snippet as a separate function that is called here. And this is taking a vector parameter. And you can see that it returns void, that means nothing. So it will actually use the input parameters and overwrite this value, and this is changed globally. So this out p here is changed by this function call. And then out p is copied back into the position. Okay, so let's see if we can do this in some other way. Maybe we don't want to have these two nodes here, just have one node. So let's delete these two nodes. And let's look at this VEX code. And here we have no parameter, and it says p multiplied by 2. So this is less code, and it seems to do the same thing. So let's just double check by going back to the geometry and disable and enable. You can see this still works. Okay. And right click VOP options, edit VOP network. And we may also want to try to add an @ mark here. Let me just do one other thing first. So to be a little bit more explicit, I'm going to add a bind. Press tab and type a bind. And then p on bind, and change the name to p and the type to vector, and add another node to tab and export, bind export. And here also call this p and type vector. And now we have some error on this side, so let's check this. It says parameter p is already used as a global variable. So you can see that because p is a global variable, we do not need to bind it. So I'm going to remove the bind for now. Okay, so this is one way to do it. And another way is to create a shop or a CVEX. So let's see, CVEX type. And let's just call this VEX Builder CVEX. And let's do the same thing here. So press tab and type snippet. And inside type p times equal 2.0. And now let's try using this CVEX instead. So let's go back to geometry and press tab and type CVEX. And now because of a bug, it doesn't appear in the menu yet. So let's try VEX. Okay, it doesn't appear in the menu, so we're going to add it using a different method. we can actually confirm that it does exist here if you go to Asset Manager, and in the VEX Builder operators, you can see we have here. Okay, so this is a shop. Okay. And so the previous one, SOP hello, is a SOP, and the CVEX we just created is a shop, which means that it will not appear in the SOP context. So we have to use a different method to bring it in here. So let's type tab and VOP and use something called an attribute VOP. And let's connect this to our box and then press P to change the parameters. And here we can set the VEX source to be a shop, because we saw up here in the asset manager that this is a shop context VEX operator. So let's now select this shop path by pressing here and then go to VOPnet 1 VEX 1 and accept. And now if you look at this result, it's still not working. You can see here it says reference to undefined variable p. And you may wonder why is that. If we try instead to use, okay. So let's figure out why is this happening. So go back to our VOPnet and the CVEX, and you can see we have an error here. So let's go inside and show the parameter. And here we can see P is giving us an error. But you could see that before we had no problem when we used the SOP context, because P was a global variable, but it is not a global variable in this shop, or rather CVEX context. So let's look at the code to see what's going on. So let's go up and right click and VEX VOP options, view VEX code. And here we can see P is multiplied by 2. So it looks just as before, and it did work, but you can see here the context is CVEX and not SOP. And in CVEX we don't have P defined as a global variable. So we have to do something else here. So go back to CVEX, and now we have to use the bind. So press tab and bind and connect this bind to the input. And the name P and the type vector. And then press tab, bind, export. And the name P. And now let's look at the VEX code. And you can see there's a difference here, that now vector P is passed as a parameter to this function, which means we can modify P, and also it is added as an export to the CVEX context function CVEX1. And this means that this is exported and will be available and should work. So this actually looks correct now. So let's go back to the geometry and see, and now we can see it actually does work. And let's go back to our VOPnet again, and this error is just a bug. It's not really an error anymore. Okay, so this works in a CVEX context to have this bound here and here. And let's try to get rid of these bind nodes and see if we can make it work anyway. But you remember it didn't work. If you go here back to the geometry, then this will give an error. So let's go back to our CVEX code. And the position is not defined. So how can we define the position? And there is a trick to, instead of having to add the bind nodes, we can automatically bind this using the @ mark. So let's see if this works. Now it will automatically bind position to an attribute called P. And it probably will not work yet. And you can see it doesn't. And to figure out why, we have to look at the code again. So right-click VEX VOP options and view VEX code. And if you look here, then we have the parameter is set. It said it's bound P, but it says it's a constant. And you can see it's also here, but it is not exported. So basically it defines a variable called P that we are not allowed to modify, and it is not bound to the actual attribute. So let's find out how we can fix this. So let's go back to the snippet and press P. And here you can see bindings to export. So if we type P, or we can type an asterisk to match all the variables. But let's use P for now, just to be clear. Okay. And now go up and look at the generated code. And now we can see this is not a constant anymore, so we are allowed to modify this bound position, and this is exported, which means that it will modify the P attribute. So this should work. Let's see. Let's go up and inside geometry, and this does work. So now we have a way to add VEX code very simply using a single snippet node. So this is a very convenient way to add VEX code to your Houdini setup, but still that was a lot of steps and a lot of things to keep in mind. So it would be nice if there was an easier way to do this, and actually there is. So let's go back inside the geometry and we will try another node. So press tab and type attribute VOP or attribute wrangle, and connect this attribute wrangle instead to the node. And let's look at this, and then select the node, press P, and here we have something called a VEXpression. So let's type the same thing here, at P times equal 2. And now we got the same result using just a single node here. And this is going to be really, really useful in our future lessons, because we are going to use this attribute wrangle all the time. So what is happening here? If you select the node and type I to go inside, you can see that we have here an attribute VOP. So that is the same thing we have here. And this one was referencing our VOPnet using this VEX source shop. But inside the attribute wrangle in the attribute VOP, you can see it uses the VEX source myself. So that means that inside this VOP, it has this snippet. And this snippet is filled with the code we just typed. And this is exporting all the bindings, so this @ mark will work. So in other words, the setup we made here and this attribute wrangle node are exactly the same. So I hope this was helpful, and see you next time. Over and out.